Hello, everybody. This is Lothos again in my match against Machiafish. Lothos playing the Allies, Machiafish playing the Axis. It's turn 13, so for the video wise, this is actually only the second turn that I'm recording. Now, let's see what happened. The last turn, I think Poland had just fallen, and he was pushing a little bit in China. I actually was talking, I do remember one part of the video I was talking about the techs, research tech that for France, what to do. One of the reasons why I was saying to leave all those except for spying is that Free France will get to use those techs, and they do help. So, and Free France has some units that are helpful: medium bombers, tactical bombers. They have an HQ. They have an escort carrier, a couple destroyers. So it's definitely worth building all of them to help the British. Ouch! Why does he get the clear weather and I get the bad weather? So if you noticed a couple of things there, he moved his garrison. He had to use his operational movement, so that cost him 20 MPP there, right there. So it was definitely worth to give that fake attack coming from the south. So he did adjust like I was hoping he would. Unfortunately, I wasn't a garrison unit, and I really wanted him to move some of the core units down, but I'll take anything, you know. He's using his MPP for other things other than building. It works for me. So he's hitting the Norway convoy. Let's take a look at the diplomacy. Or that was me hitting it. We're up to 8%, so one or two more turns, and then we're good. So I'm not going to move my guy away from there yet. So let's see. We're in November. I need to keep him busy a little bit longer. So he's got to, most likely he's going to heal up. Let's move the HQ up here. Just to help keep getting the supplies to those guys in that pocket there. Anticipation is these will die. I mean, it's okay. It's just to buy me time with the communist. Right. He didn't do much down here. Did railroad that guy. I am on the hill. Let's see if he moved anything else. Ah, no, he brought this garrison from somewhere else. I don't know where it came from. Hopefully he'll get some partisans. Okay. I have to keep an eye on my southern flank. I need to hold out till January. It's going to be tough. Possible if I get bad weather. That's what I need. So typically, as the Chinese, you're going to have to do a retreat. There's no ends or meats about it. I mean, historically, China was very weak, and the only reason why they never really surrendered to Japan is because Japan could never focus everything, or didn't even try to focus everything on China. And then when they decided to try to start focusing more on China, which is around I think 43 or so, it was kind of already too late. So for China, you kind of want to try to guide the player to retreat. I mean, you want to try to retreat through here, so that Japan comes through here, buy you time, and then fortify this line coming down here, right into the mountains. You try to hold on to this, basically this rail line or parts of it, sort of creating a belly effect. And then here, you really need to try to hold a solid line right here. So after this engineer builds this fort, you just want to keep building along this line. Go do a secondary line right around the Siam front, and you just want to basically dig in and hold it. Make him pay for every inch. Okay, let's take a look at. Let's move these guys around. I always start with this point here. You really need to anchor this down, because even if let's say you hold a line here, if the Germans are able to come around here, your front line is completely screwed and outflanked. So at least you start here, anchor it. Even if the Germans go further over, this terrain is so difficult for them. Marshes all over here. You can kind of dig in. And they're also stretching their supply lines. So you just need this first hex, and you just kind of dig in along this dirt road line, and then dig in right up here and create a second line right here to hold the Finns back. And then you bring the engineers down here and start working around Moscow. So the goal here is you want to move stuff into position and not pay MPP. You want to hoard your MPP. The Russians are up to 164. I still need a little bit more for the 175. So I'm a going. Like I said, this is going back to my strategy of moving the infantry corps units towards the front so they're the first ones to die. And yes, you do die. You don't want to retreat. I've seen a lot of players say, "Oh, the Germans are retreating me. I gotta move." No, leave the troops in the city. Let them die. They're cheap for the Russians. Infantry units, corps, garrison, and motorized infantry, and division infantry. They are super cheap. Put them in a city, let them entrench, and let the Germans work really hard. You have to just let them. It's for time. You're trading time. If you retreat, you're giving them an easy hex, and you're giving them time, which is the commodity they can't afford. All right, what are we going to do here? Ah, poop. Let's see how the anti-tank is. It's close. I won't sell it. I'll keep holding on to it, see what happens. And the UK. Got everything going, so it's time to start buying. Okay. First. Oh, wow. I'm behind. Wonder why. Okay. Let's do him. Let's do him. Gives me 2 HQs. And start doing power time. That'll be it for this round. Do our ASW. But he's out in the clear. No rain. One of the things you could do with the Russian subs is sort of park them off the coast here around here somewhere. So if the I know some people want to play games and like move them here and block the Japan from invading by blocking these two hexes. Please don't play like that. It's kind of, I mean, it's in real life. You cannot use Russians can't use two submarines to block an entire fleet from invading. So just don't exploit the game engine and things like that. I would recommend just playing a legitimate game, keeping the Russian subs here in this area, which is where they stay pretty much historically and occasionally went out scouting. But they also provide you good intelligence in case you are afraid of Japan attacking Russia, which is always a plausible, very plausible. So you got to, keep that in mind. Ooh, I'm going to get that fort soon. Let's do our slow movements. I don't think there's much else left for me to do. Diplomacy is good. Let's take a look at research for US. I don't think there's anything for them to do right now. Anti-tank. I know some people are like, oh, you got to do infantry. There's only 2 levels. So you want to focus on the first, the ones that have 5 levels. You're always going to catch up. The first, assume everything goes a historical game. The U.S. comes in December 1941. If you're building infantry in 1942, you got problems. You're going to have problems later on. You got to be building ships. So you're going to have plenty of time to get this to infantry level 2. And in fact, most likely by the time you get to around May or June of 1942, you will have this at level 2. Assuming this is level 1 before USA is involved in the war, which can easily be done, you'll get level 2 really quickly. You don't need many forces to fight down in North Africa. The British can provide or will provide a large part of the army. The Americans, all they need is really one HQ and air power. You've got 3 motorized units. You got already a fighter. You build a couple of small bombers or something, like 1 or 2 bombers. Don't need a huge air force just to be able to help support if you decide to do Operation Torch. The British can supply the rest of the forces. This does not have to be all Americans. And remember, Operation Torch historically did not happen until around, I think it was November, December of 1942. So it was an entire year. One of the strategies that I do as the Americans playing long-term game is around mid 1941, I start building the infantry divisions for the Americans and then whatever garrison units I can. And I keep them in the new units pool. I don't place them until the Americans are in the war. Once they're in the war, I throw them on the West Coast, plop them on transports, and immediately send them straight to the islands to try to slow Japan down, make them fight for every island. Just transport them out and park them on anything. Do risky runs, put them on transports and throw them out. Max 40 movement, I think it was, and then just see if you can beat the Japanese and amphibs to the islands. And then everything, just build ships, carriers especially. Build all of your carriers. Japan is going to go crazy all of 1942. There's nothing if you're trying to stop it, you're focusing on the wrong thing. And if everything's going on correctly in Europe, you may be able to shift the entire U.S. East Coast fleet with maybe 2 or 3 ships to just protect the coast and send them over to the Pacific. All right, I don't think I have anything else left. Oh, let's do purchase for China. Refresh my memory on what's going on. We have 5 units, so let's go ahead and buy that artillery unit. Great. So now I can start. I got a next thing I got to build is the anti-air for the regular Chinese, and then I'm free to do whatever the hell I want because the main things are built. Let's hope he gets bad weather. Oh my God. Alrighty. Let's go, Houston. Yay, Cuba! I wanted to see the weather. I can't see it. I wanted to see what it was going to be like in China, but production looks great. No subs anywhere. All right. My turn is done. Till next time, people.